Hello there, you joined me back in the XK8 for a brief update video. In all honesty, I haven't actually driven this car very much recently because of well, time and dedicating a bit more time to the MG and going off to the Goodwood Revival, which you might have seen my video for recently. But what I did do is actually get this car serviced, and that revealed a problem with this car which I need to get sorted out, and that's actually happening tomorrow. And that was a small leak with the gearbox. Now they said it was only weeping, it wasn't, you know, leaking loads of fluid or oil or whatever's in the gearbox itself, but would require a bit of work to put right, so I'm going to get that fixed. But I guess the other thing that I should mention is that there are a couple other things with this car which have revealed themselves over the course of the summer that I am going to get fixed in the next couple of weeks as well. So chiefly it's the corrosion around the rear arches. In my previous video I mentioned that I had some corrosion there, and I don't know if it's just because of getting used to the car and things, but it's kind of feels like it's getting worse and, you know, eating away at the worrisome part of my mind, and something I needed to get addressed. So after the gearbox is sorted, straight off to the body shop to get the rear arches cut out and replaced with new metal. The alternative to this, which the body shops will advise, is that you can try and rub down the metal that's there and attempt to treat it for rust and spray over the top, which is a lot cheaper but may not actually be a long-term solution, whereas actually cutting out the bad metal and replacing it with a new part is probably the best way to ensure a long-term fix. The other thing which I saw once I'd removed my mud flaps was actually my front wings could also do a little bit of a touch-up. So depending on how much the rear arches cost me, I might see if I can get the front wheel arches around where the mud flaps are sorted at the same time, and that just means that I'll have hopefully most of the sort of corrosion problems with this car sorted then. The stone chips on the front bumper and the bonnet I don't think I'll do right now, because I think because they're quite big panels it's just going to cost too much to do all in one hit. But if you're going to try and leverage sort of economy of scale, then if I had the money, then I'd probably prefer to do a full respray so everything matched, but that's just not viable money wise at the moment. I mean, undoubtedly over the course of the life of the car, then that's going to have to happen at some point, but hopefully later rather than sooner. The other thing which I wanted to talk about as well was the headlining within the car. When I first bought the car, the headlining was mostly perfect, save for a little rippling around where the door seals are. But I mean, I guess we've not had an overly hot summer, but we have had a couple of uncharacteristically hot days, and I think this was just too much for the 15-year-old glue that holds up the headlining. And above my head, slightly here, not really that noticeable, but definitely on the passenger side, the headlining has kind of drooped down a bit, which is a common fault on the XK8, and something which people have kind of set up almost a cottage industry to fix. So you can buy kits to do it yourself, but it's quite a fiddly job, so it's not urgent either, so I probably won't get that fixed right now, but probably next year, before next summer, or maybe even after next summer, in case it happens to, you know, gets worse, and if that's what affects the headlining, is to get a new headlining put in this car. I think I've seen people advertising retrimming it and fitting it for around £400 or £500, which isn't too bad. I think the actual kits to do it yourself were more like £100 perhaps, so that's a cheaper alternative to getting somebody else to do it. But I'm always worried with doing these kind of jobs myself that it looks really amateurish once it's done, because I have seen in a couple of other videos on YouTube where people have actually tried to put studs in the existing headlining to try and keep it off their heads, but that just looks very bad, and you end up with this kind of weird Bedouin sheet type effect going on in here, which I'm not really a fan of. So what else? Not a lot really. I think that's probably about it. The car seems to be running and driving fine. Certainly from the service there was nothing else that they could report as wrong with the car, and it's yeah, it's great. Still handles brilliantly, still goes okay. Oh yeah, the other thing I suppose I should mention is what, after a spirited drive I had the other week, which is another video I made, you might have seen that one. I noticed that one of the tyres, the front passenger side, has a sort of cut in it. So I don't know whether sort of charging down country lanes I've hit something sharp and it's cut a little bit of a line in the tyre. So that certainly needs to be sorted out. The tyres on this car aren't great anyway. They're kind of Nankang economy tyres, whereas really it probably deserves a more premium brand and probably increase the ride comfort as well. But yeah, that's about it for my update. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, only a brief one. I will be giving an update once the car comes out of the garage and the body shop to let you know kind of what I had done and the sort of any hideous costs that I found when having the work done on this car. And that'll be in a couple of weeks' time. I would have thought maybe 2 or 3 weeks, depending on how long they have it for. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll be back again soon with some more car-related content. So cheers for joining. See you later. Bye.